Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Money Markets and Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Brown. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome. If you're a longtime listener, then welcome back. It's been a minute since I recorded an episode. There's been a lot going on, and I'm excited to share some of it with you. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about all the craziness that's going on with the commission-free brokers. But before we get into that, before we get into what that means for you, that some of the big boys are moving to commission-free stock and options trading, although there is a little bit of an asterisk that I want to talk to you guys about, because you got to make sure you read the fine print. It's for the most part commission-free, but there is still some fees in there, which we'll talk about here in a second. But I want to share with you what's been going on and really just talk to you about the environment and the time that we live in, and make sure you understand that we have a huge opportunity to take advantage of the time that we're living in to generate wealth for ourselves, for our family, for our kids, and for generations to come. So if you follow me on Instagram, if you don't, make sure you check me out at Brown Report. That's the @ symbol, and then Brown Report, or just Brown Report is the username on Instagram. But I took you guys behind the scenes a couple weeks ago as YouTube flew me and 11 other creators out to YouTube Studios LA. And so I shouldn't say I won a contest. I applied and I was selected with 11 other creators out of thousands of submissions to be considered YouTube Next Up, which is who they feel has next up, who are the next big players on the YouTube platform. And so YouTube flew us out there for a week-long, all expense paid trip. I mean, food, drinks, partying. We spent the week learning about video editing, audio editing, storytelling. And to be quite honest, I came back from that and I just really had to take a break from creating content, but in a good way. It's because I learned so much, and there's so much you put into telling your story and putting content out, and want to make sure that it's helpful to people, that when I came back, I had so many ideas about how I can create better content, how I can better storytell, how I can increase the video production and audio production and everything. And so it was really an exciting time. And one of my big takeaways from it, and again, we're going to talk about the commission-free trades in a minute. My biggest takeaway from it was really just understanding the time that we live in and the opportunity that we have. You know, they flew out some other creators that had anywhere from 1 million to 3 million subscribers to talk to us about how to grow our YouTube channel. By the way, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, you got to go to YouTube, type in the Brown Report, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and then make sure you turn on the bell notification so you can get notified when I drop new videos on YouTube. In fact, right now we're recording the video version of the podcast, and you'll be able to see the video version if you're listening to the audio version right now. And so as we had these creators talk to us, as YouTube flew us out to LA, to YouTube Studios LA, and just realizing that the time that we live in with the technology, we have an opportunity to create literally our own TV channel. We don't have to go to the cable companies, the news networks. We literally can just cut the mic on, cut the camera on, and build our own audience, build our own channel, run our own commercials on our channels. And then big companies want to come in and be a part of that. Companies want to sponsor you. The same thing with this podcast. We have an opportunity to literally create our own radio show now. We don't have to go to the big companies and say, can I get put on your radio station? We can create our own channel, upload our audio, and our following can tune in to our own radio station. And that's the power of the internet. That's the power of websites, the power of technology. And it's only making things easier for us to get our message, our purpose out here to the world and be content creators. Now, what does that have to do with commission-free trades? All right. And so I'm going to tell you what that has to do with commission-free trades. When you really think about the evolution of the stock market, I want you to go back, okay? And if you can't go back, no worries. I'm gonna take you back. I want you to think about back when your great grandpa was around, or grandmother for that matter, and they, and the stock market was a thing. If you look at the hurdles that they had to overcome to be part of the stock market or to get involved with the stock market back in the day, you, number one, had to be wealthy, and number two, you had to have a stock broker. You had to actually have a person that you could call that would execute trades on your behalf. And if you go back even further, I don't even know if you can call the person. Maybe you have to go visit them at an office, and they literally, wrote down stock trades on pieces of paper, and that's how they performed back in the day. So whether you rode a horse to your stockbroker, or you lived, your grandpa or grandmother lived in the era where you could call your stockbroker, the point is you actually had to have a stockbroker. That was a person, okay? And so that might have been the hurdle for your grandparents not getting involved with the stock market. It's like, look, we didn't have that much money. It cost this much to have a stockbroker. There was commission and fees involved. They only dealt with people who had a lot of money, okay? And so that wasn't us, so we couldn't get involved with the stock market. So then we roll the tape a little bit forward, and along comes the internet. And so the internet changed the game. Okay, so now you had online brokers, which means you could log on to the computer and open an online trading account. All right. And you could actually trade stock online. You didn't have to have a broker. You didn't have to have a car to drive to a broker. You didn't necessarily have to be from a certain wealth or class of people. There was no discrimination. You just put in your social security number and your information on the computer, and voila, you have a trading account. Now, that should have been around, your parents' time. And if you think about it, maybe your parents didn't get involved because, they had the excuse, I don't really know how the computer works. Or, yes, you can open an online trading account, but the commissions and fees are too high. And so that may have prevented your parents from getting involved in the stock market, okay? And maybe they didn't have access to the information. So maybe they had access to the stock market, and the commission and fees were not that bad, but they're like, I don't actually know what I'm doing, and so therefore I didn't get involved. Well, roll the tape a little further. Along comes YouTube, for an example, which allow course creators like myself to share what we're doing in the stock market, share what we've learned, share how this whole thing works, live stream, stock trades and option trades, and do case studies. And so when you look at the power of the internet, right, it removed the excuse. Well, you can even go back to libraries, okay? You can go check out a book or check out a video on the stock market. So between the library and then, places like YouTube where you didn't even have to leave the house, it removed the excuse of not having access to the knowledge. Am I making sense? And so now you fast forward, and this is where we're going to talk about the commission-free trades. You fast forward, and you had companies like Robinhood, which was the first company that really kind of started this whole commission-free movement. And they just said, hey, come trade with us, and we're not going to charge you any type of commission. Just, open your account, send your money over here, and we'll allow you to trade with no commission. And so that literally started to change the game. You started seeing people open and people that have never thought about trading or investing before started opening accounts with Robinhood. And I think what happened is, and by the way, we'll put a link in the description if you're not familiar with Robinhood. We did a full review on Robinhood, how to open a trading account with Robinhood. And by the way, they actually give you a free stock, at least at the time of this recording, for opening a trading account with them. But here's the point, is that Robinhood, by them making the move to do a commission-free platform, now whether you think the platform is good or not, that's a whole nother discussion about, I don't, depending on what you're using it for, it may be a good or a bad platform. But the point is that movement, what it did was it started to allow the masses to get involved with the stock market. I'm talking college students, anybody who just felt like, oh, I got $200, I'm gonna open a trading account, there's no commission. And so the barrier to entry, if we go back, let's think about it. It went from the wealthy can only do this to you had to have a stockbroker to do this, to you could do it on the internet, but maybe you couldn't afford the commission and fees, or you didn't know how it worked, to, YouTube and video on the internet coming out in the library where you can check out books, to eliminating the excuse of not having the education. And now one of the final barriers is commission. And so now they've just knocked down that barrier. And guess who started to follow? You heard the announcements: Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade, Fidelity. A lot of the big boy platforms have now moved to a commission-free trading platform. And so what does that mean to you? It means that before, when you looked at opening a Robinhood account, it was like, it's nice that they got free commission, but you always didn't get the best order or pricing, perhaps. Maybe they didn't have access to all the major exchanges to route your order through. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let's just say there's the New York Stock Exchange, there's the NASDAQ, there's the Philadelphia Stock Exchange, there's the Archipelago, there's all these different exchanges. You may not even know they all existed. Most people just know about the New York Stock Exchange. Well, if orders are being routed on multiple exchanges and somebody's trying to pay for it for a stock, let's say a stock is trading for $10. And if they want to pay $10 for it on the New York Stock Exchange, maybe Robinhood only has access to the New York Stock Exchange, but on the Philadelphia Exchange or the Chicago Board of Options Exchange, someone's willing to sell it for $4.90. Well, you didn't have access to the $4.90 exchange, and so you may have bought it at the higher price on the New York Stock Exchange. Well, with Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade, Fidelity, Interactive Brokers, a lot of the bigger companies going to a free commission structure, these are companies that now also have the best tools, also have access to the best order routing. And so now you get commission free and you're getting the best tools. So I really think that this industry is going to evolve even more, because now you have to ask yourself, what is each platform's unique selling proposition? What is the unique selling proposition of going with Robinhood versus Charles Schwab if they both have commission for free? Well, right now, Robinhood at least gives you your first free stock for joining it. And so it's getting to a point where you're almost getting paid to open your first trading account, depending on who you go with. And so this is why I'm so pumped. I'm so excited that we live in this time right here, right now. It's because all of the excuse barriers are being broken, and there has never been a better time to get involved with the stock market. You got access to the information. You got access to the internet to place trades. They're removing commission barriers. And some companies are even giving you your first free stock just to join. Now, it's not always like a good stock. It might be like a $5 cheap stock. But the point is, all right, we can't complain and beggars can't be choosy. The point is, you're able to get in the game for free, and in a way get paid to get involved in the game. And so I was thinking about this as we were getting ready to record this episode. And I was thinking about this. I said, I'm looking at the opportunity we have with video, to become your own TV station, to become your own news broadcaster with the power of YouTube and creating these videos. I'm looking at how audio landscaping is changing with podcasts and the internet and iPhones and Androids, where people are subscribing and listening to their favorite people. And it's not on the public radio. It's on these platforms where they're following their followers. And I'm thinking, wow, what a great time to be alive and be an entrepreneur. And again, I looked at the stock market and I thought the exact same thing. What a great time to be alive and be involved with the stock market. And I'm pausing for effect because I want you to think about something here. I just can't imagine, if you have kids or you don't have kids, or maybe you plan to have kids down the road, whatever the case may be, let's just close your eyes. I want you to imagine that you have kids, or you will have kids, or you have some type of family or somebody that's going to depend on you financially in the future. But maybe it's your parents and you need to, take care of them and pay for their health care coverage or put them in the best retirement home or something like that. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to think about this for a minute. I want you to think about 10, 20 years from now when you had an opportunity 10, 20 years back to get involved with the stock market, to get involved for commission free. You had the podcast, you had the YouTube videos to learn from people. You even had people offering courses, whatever the case may be, to get the knowledge and the information. And then you got platforms that even give you your first stock for free. I want you to close your eyes, and I just want you to imagine when you talk to your kids and your kid says, Mom, Dad, maybe you don't have kids and you're just an aunt or an uncle, whatever the case may be. And they say, how much money did you make from the stock market? How much money did you put away to invest in our future? How did you capitalize on the Teslas, the Googles, the Amazon of your day when, this company came out of nowhere like Amazon and created online shopping, free shipping. And you got companies like Apple's that invented the cell phone, companies like Tesla that created the first electric car. I don't know if it was the first electric car, but they've been one of the first ones to do it on a massive scale and make a car that most people want. But whatever the case may be, and your kid asks, how much of it did we get? How much of the share, the slice of the pie did we get for our family? And can you imagine what your response is going to be? When your kid says, well, it can't be the knowledge. You got YouTube, you got the library, you got books. You didn't read any books. You didn't buy any courses. You didn't watch any free videos. You say, no, I didn't. All right. Did you listen to any podcasts on how this stuff worked? No, I didn't. Or I did. Okay. Well, you could open an account online. What's the problem? Did you open an account? I didn't open an account. Why not? The commission, I was reading the news articles back in your day. Commission was free. What's the problem? And can you just imagine? You have no real excuse to tell your kids, to tell your nieces and nephews of why you didn't get your slice of the pie, other than I just didn't feel like it. I just didn't have the time. I didn't make the time. I didn't carve out enough time outside of watching TV, or, I went and worked 8 hours, and when I got off, I didn't feel like actually learning anything else. I'm just saying, the excuses are so far removed right now that literally there's like nothing you can tell me about why you shouldn't get started in the stock market. And so if you feel a little nudge or a little push, yes, I'm nudging you. I'm pushing you, because this is a great time to be alive, and it is a great time to be involved in the stock market. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about why you haven't gotten started, even if it's just opening your first practice account, even if it's just getting your first free stock and just kind of getting in there around in the platform and just looking around. I want you to take that first step, because there's never been a better time. And I should also say there's never been a lower risk time for you to get involved. The commission is free, and you got companies giving you your first free stock. So I don't want you to look up 10, 20 years from now and you be a person that didn't take advantage. And so as I close out this episode, we're going to put the resources below if you're watching it on YouTube. I'm going to put the resources below in the blog post if you're watching it or listening to it on the website, or if you are listening to it on, Stitcher Radio, Android Radio, or iTunes. It'll be below in the show notes. I want you to check out the links. I'll give you the link to get your first free stock. The link to open a practice trading account with TD Ameritrade. We did an entire video on how that whole thing works. And so there's literally no excuse for you not getting involved with the stock market. You just got to look in the mirror and say, if it's going to be, it's up to me. And you got to make the time and move forward and get involved, even if it's taking the baby steps that we just mentioned. I'm Jason Brown, and this is the Money Markets and Mindset Podcast, and I'm signing off saying, get yours, because I'm going to get mine. I'll see you guys on the next episode.